Hello, Knox County fifth graders. My name is Mrs. Lenz. I teach fifth grade science and social studies at A.L. Lotz Elementary. It's good to be with you again for week 2 of KCS at home, covering Gallopade chapters 17, 18, and 19. We're going to do a quick recap of last week, kind of look at an example of a collage that you could have done, and move on to a new task for you this week. Thank you for your patience while I shared that screen. Again, we're looking at chapter 17, 18, and 19. As we go through this video, if you're having some difficulty understanding it, feel free to turn on the closed captions if that's available to you. You can adjust the playback speed to slow down the video if you need to. You may consider watching short clips at a time, then pausing, listening, maybe going back and watching it again. You can also ask someone in your home to watch the video with you, then stop frequently and kind of talk with them about what you've heard and what you understand. As we move forward, we are again recapping the proclamation of 1763 with the Wilderness Road, the Watauga Settlement, and the Cumberland settlements. That proclamation of 1763 by King George III kind of put a line right here between around the 13 colonies that said do not settle past this line, and that this area was for our American Indians to settle in. Now, of course, our settlers did not listen to that, and they began moving across. And in fact, 1775 was when Daniel Boone and his party carved out that Wilderness Road right about in here, which became that lifeline to the west, and a lot of settlers started moving westward. In 1769, John Bean started the first settlement in the Watauga area, right here in the upper corner of Tennessee. They had their own government, the Watauga Association, and formed their own laws under what they called the Watauga Compact. Of course, within a few years, since they've crossed this line, we had some conflicts with the Cherokee Indians, more specifically with Dragging Canoe, who was a Cherokee war chief, and he led the resistance, I guess you would call it, of the settlers moving across. The Cumberland settlements began in 1775 when the Transylvania Land Company bought land around the Cumberland River. The biggest purchase was about 20 million acres in the middle of Tennessee, called the Transylvania Purchase. And James Robertson and John Donaldson, we talked about a little bit last week, were the founders of those Cumberland settlements. We are going to talk a little bit about your task that you were to do last week, which is creating a collage depicting the perspective of one of the following people, either Dragging Canoe, Nancy Ward, John Sevier, or Little Carpenter. And we're going to look at an example, just a really quick throw together example of what might have been included in a collage. This one is based on Nancy Ward. Looking at it, you can see the backing is just a piece of cardboard. She was a woman of peace. She really did want peace, but she was a powerful woman. So we used the Wonder Woman symbol here to represent that. The mountains here are representing the fact that we're talking about that Cumberland area and going through the Cumberland Gap where those settlers came through. The animals represent not only some of the challenges that the settlers faced, but the fact that Nancy Ward was a Cherokee Indian and that their tribe dealt a lot with these animals and actually kind of were their food source. The seeds represent new beginnings with these settlers, and again, she was hoping for peace. So hopefully we've planted some seeds of new beginnings of peace, and the flowers represent that new growth between the settlers and the American Indians. We are going to take a little video break here, and we're going to watch something from the Smithsonian called Journey Through the Gap. This is a Tennessee History for Kids video. I'm going to ask you to bear with me as I have to do a little switching here on the computer itself so we can get some things worked out here and sharing so you can see this video. Okay, we are going to share now this one. And there we go. And we're going to go full screen with this.
America, supporting K through 12 education in the volunteer state.
Hello, everybody. It's History Bill, and you're never going to believe where I am. I'm at a place called Martin's Station, which is in southwest Virginia, and you may say, Well, History Bill, why are you in Virginia? Well, I'll tell you why I'm in Virginia. Because it's the year 1775, and I'm trying to get to Tennessee, which is a place they now call Tennessee, which is just over, well, it's that away through those mountains. But the problem is you can't just go over those mountains. You can see that they're huge mountains. You need to find a place called the Cumberland Gap. And you really need to make sure you know what you're doing, because there's also Native Americans in this area and in Tennessee that don't want me moving west right now in the year 1775. I'm told that there are people here, particularly a man named Daniel Boone, who might be able to help me find what I'm looking for. So I'm going to see if our friend Daniel Boone's here. I can obviously hear that there's animals in the fort, and perhaps Mr. Boone is there as well. So let's just check it out. I'm History Bill. I'm History Bill, and I'm trying to find my way to Tennessee. I'm looking for somebody to help me get to Tennessee, to the Cumberland Gap.
Cumberland Gap?
Yes, sir.
Well, then you need to speak to Captain Boone.
Captain Boone.
Captain Boone. There's someone out here to speak with you, sir.
Well, good day, sir. I'm History Bill, and I'm trying to find my way
Captain
through.
Daniel Boone.
How are you doing, sir? Oh, you're Daniel Boone.
Yes, sir.
Wow. Well, we were hoping we might find you. We didn't dream we'd actually find you, but it's great to see you. I'm trying to find my way through to the area perhaps known as Tennessee.
Oh, yes. The Cherokee, they call it Tennessee. Yes,
Oh,
I've heard of this.
yeah.
We call it the Cumberland Gap.
Well, I got lost, as you can see.
Yeah, you look like you've had a pretty rough time.
Well,
Where's all your deer got lost by the Indians? We'll talk about this more. Come in, and I'll give you something to drink and some food. We'll sit around and talk a spell.
Thank you very much. So a lot of people have come through this. This is the Wilderness Road.
This is the last stop before you go westward into Kentucky,
And
and the first stop on the way back.
And how many people have come through here?
Hundreds.
Gosh. They spend the night here, spend a few days
They'll
here?
come in here. They'll get their provisions. Because Martin Station here is, like I said, it's the last station before we go into the wilderness. There's nothing out there. And matter of fact, let me show you around and show you, let you see some of the other people here. Some of these people have actually decided to stay here because I told them of the dangers of it.
Can I see like some of the buildings?
Oh yeah, I can take you right here and show you some of the buildings and everything like that. Come with me.
Great, thanks.
This fella came in here with this wagon and a team of horses wanting to go to Kentucky. The trail is only for foot traffic and horses. There's no way you can get that wagon up through there.
So you call it a road, but it's really more
It's
like
a trail.
It's a trail right now.
Actually what it was, Bill, it was a deer path that I found.
Oh, you've got a woodworker. Do you have a?
We have a blacksmith.
Oh,
we have a blacksmith.
Where does he work?
Oh, he's right over here. We should probably go over and visit.
Oh, thank you.
This is the blacksmith area right here. I'm sorry he's not here. I'd like for you to meet him. He makes a lot of valuable things here at the station that we need on it and use on a daily basis.
And a lot of people are going from here right about now to points west.
Right. And I am really trying to get this man to go with me to Kentucky because I need skills like he's got in Kentucky because there's nothing there.
Now, there's something I'm confused about. This is the Wilderness Road area through there, the valley.
Right.
Is this also what is known as the Warrior's Path?
No, the Warrior's Path is entirely different. The Wilderness Trail, which is over that way, this right over here is the Warrior's Path. And what it is where the Indians traveled from the north to the south, right across that ridge. That was a heck of a place to form an attack.
Wow.
They've attacked us many times as we've been coming through there. Now, Bill, right here is where I stay in this cabin, but I don't like staying in cabins. I like staying out in the wilderness.
You know, it's really, really quiet today. Is it always like this here? What the?
Bill, come on, go!
What is it? Oh, come on.
Get out of here!
close call back there at Martin Station. I didn't think we were going to make it through.
Yeah, Bill, we sure did. But I'll tell you right now, it happens all the time on the frontier. But you handled yourself very well. Would you like to take a rest?
Yes, I would actually. And you know, there's something I've been meaning to ask you about. I think I may have read this or heard this, and I'm sorry to bring this up, but I'm curious. Didn't I read that somebody in your family, was your son killed near here by Indians? Or?
Yes, my son James was killed on the Wilderness Trail. At the age of 19, I lost my son.
I'm sorry I brought it up. I think I remember
Can't
hearing
have to
this.
speak about it any longer. Ready?
Yeah. Why are we stopping?
We're here.
We're here?
That's the gap right there.
This is it?
Right over that is Kentucky.
And where I'm going, Tennessee, is over that gap.
That's exactly right.
Wow. Gosh, I didn't think we'd ever get here, but now that we're here, I can't believe it.
Well, it's a good thing we got here alive.
Thanks. Now, should we press on?
Let's go.
All right, I'll lead the way.
Now, as you could see, it was a little bit difficult for them to sometimes get through that. At the time, it was just a deer path that they had followed. It turned into what they called the Wilderness Road, but as you heard, it wasn't like they could bring those horses and carriages along with them. So your next task that we're going to ask you to do, and I'm going to try to get back to that PowerPoint here in just a moment if I can get that to happen. Hopefully. We'll see if we can, share that. There you go. Beautiful. Okay. So your next task is going to be to kind of show what you know about this time frame. And what you are going to do is based on the information that we have talked about, that you have read about, that you remember from 4th grade with all of these people, John Sevier, Nancy Ward, Dragging Canoe, Little Carpenter, John Donaldson and James Robertson, and that crossing the Wilderness Road. You are going to create 2 to 3 questions that you would be able to ask them if you had the opportunity to interview them. You're going to use all of that knowledge you have, be thoughtful and creative with your questions. Think about what you've learned about the proclamation, about that area, that line that settlers weren't supposed to cross, but they chose to do it anyway. Include information about how those actions and that defiance kind of created the expansion, the settlements, and what we now have as Tennessee. So think about all of that. You're going to create 2 to 3 questions for each of them, asking them questions as if you're interviewing them. And as an added bonus, you can create what you believe would be the answers that you would receive from them. For example, if we were to interview Nancy Ward, we might have asked her or had a discussion with her that her goal was to maintain peace between the Cherokee and the white settlers, and then ask her, how did you feel when you discovered that Dragging Canoe would be leading attack against Watauga? Again, Dragging Canoe was a Cherokee Indian as well. So was there some conflict there in how they felt about everything that was happening? Again, 2 to 3 questions. Be creative with these. And I hope that you have enjoyed this. I hope that you're getting some wonderful background knowledge out of this and recapping what you already know. Again, thank you for joining me. It's been a pleasure. And remember that we are all in this together. If you have questions, please reach out to your teachers. Thank you so much. We'll see you again soon.